show, so get rocking up.
So let me break it all down for you.
I ain't never giving up, I ain't never
You know
giving
I'm taking that crown from you.
A little bit of the bubbly. What's going on, you guys? I'm the FPL Penguin, back again with another stream for you all. Hope you're all doing well. Now, in today's video, we'll be talking about DCL replacements. A replacement for DCL. We've just been hit by the news that DCL is more than likely to be out of this weekend's fixture. And if you want a replacement, I know over 500k of you guys have brought DCL in for this game week. Now, we know he's got a hamstring injury. He's probably getting looked at now, but it's very, very likely he will be out. And it looks like he is injured for sure. So these are the replacements that I think you should look out for as we go along in this stream. I hope you do enjoy the stream. If you do enjoy the stream, hit that like button, hit subscribe, join the Bubbly Bunch Army. Really does help out the channel a lot. And thank you so much for your continued support, guys. So let's get straight into the video. Let's talk about DCL. He's a fantastic striker. If you watched my last video, he basically only got 2 goals in his last 5 appearances for the Toffees. Now, he was on fire, as we know, at the start of the season. I have a bit of a recap what DCL's like as a player. He was on fire. I've had him since game week 1. Got rid of him probably when his form kind of dipped a bit. Richarlison, Luka Dean, James Rodriguez kind of got injured a bit. So it made it hard for DCL to continue that fine form of his. So as you see, start of the season, he was on fire, wasn't he? And he kind of then dipped a bit in form. He wasn't really scoring the goals, as you can see. There was this huge gap from game week after game week 11 to game week 22, so about 11 game weeks there. He just went a bit quiet. So I'm going to give you guys some tips, some who I think could be good replacements for DCL. So sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy this video. So let's look at some DCL replacements, shall we? You've got the likes of Harry Kane. Now, Harry Kane, he scored, I believe, against Everton in the Cup last night, in the FA Cup. He's another good one to have because, you know, after the City game, I know he's got a tough game against Manchester City, but if you look at his fixtures after Man City, this is probably a good time to maybe have a Spurs attacker in, should I say, back in your team. Or maybe go for a double up if you're feeling a bit cheeky, going for a bit of a YOLO moment, have Son and Kane. But I feel Kane, you know, now that he's back and he's fully fit, he's got some lovely fixtures, and I don't feel it's bad to have him for the City game away from home. I don't feel that's a bad idea because him and Son are on fine form. Sure, Spurs are conceding the goals, but I feel if you have someone like Kane in your team versus City, I don't feel it's a bad idea because for the fixtures ahead too, he's got some lovely fixtures in West Ham, Burnley, Palace, Arsenal. He loves to score against Arsenal, doesn't he? So he's got some lovely fixtures ahead. So I don't feel that's a bad replacement looking at someone like Harry Kane. If we have a look as well on SofaScore, good place to check out very informative posts and good stats on players. So have a little scroll down here and we go to Premier League. And you can see that's his heat map on the far right hand side of the screen. If we compare him to probably the likes of another player, well, we'll do Calvert-Lewin at the minute and see how he fares up. This is Harry Kane in green and DCL in blue. Now, I mean, Harry Kane just absolutely dominates, isn't it? By looking at the stats there, comparison-wise to DCL. And, you know, Harry Kane, how many goals he got this season? He's got 13 goals and he's got 11 assists so far this season. And shots per game, 3.3 on average. So that means he gets about average of 3 shots, probably on target, per game. And key passes per game, we know what he's like at the start of the season. Getting those assists, he was a bit of the assist master, wasn't he? With 1.6 per game too. So I don't see him as a bad one. I think he's a lovely one going forward too, with the fixtures ahead, like I mentioned, with those games. And he could be a good one to, you know, fill the boots for DCL in your team. Another player I want to talk about is Jamie Vardy. Now, Jamie Vardy is one of those kind of troll players, a bit like a Callum Wilson, but when he hits big, he hits big when he decides to turn up, should I say. He's got 11 goals and 8 assists so far this season. Now, he's basically, you know, minutes-wise missed the last 4 games. And he's back now. He played 29 minutes against Wolves, came off the bench. Now, I expect him to start against Liverpool. It's a tough game against Liverpool now. As a lot of you know, I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm going through all this jazz at the minute, seeing my team play poor, and I really do think Vardy and co could really hurt us this Saturday. If you look at the fixtures too, Liverpool at home, Villa away, Arsenal home, Brighton, Sheffield United, Burnley. It's similar to Harry Kane with Spurs. A lovely run. Tough game, you know, in the next fixture, Gameweek 24, but the run after that looks so nice. It really does. And I know these guys are more expensive than DCL. Depends how much money you have in the bank, unless you just brought DCL in if you're one of that 500 plus K that brought him in this game week. If you have got enough money in the bank, I do recommend probably either Kane or Vardy, but Vardy's a nice one to go for. Now, I think Vardy did destroy us a few seasons back and score 1 or 2 goals against us, probably a hat-trick. And he's one of those players, Vardy, that could hurt teams. And the way my team, Liverpool, playing at the moment, that high line, and our defence is all over the place. Our defence is all over the place, and I don't have much confidence as a Liverpool fan going into this game. Now, as you can see, I've got Madison Barnes, and that's another story for tomorrow's stream. Do tune in for that, for a Gameweek 24 stream. Well, hopefully with guests too. But yeah, so Vardy-wise, I do feel like he's a lovely one to go for. He's destined to start this game, and I feel he could score against us and probably really hurt us. So he's another one to probably go for. If we have a look at SofaScore again, I'd like to probably do a comparison-wise to how him and Kane are doing at the minute. Now, if we have a bit of comparison-wise, now Kane's still green and Vardy's blue. Now, it's pretty tight. It's a lot more tighter than the DCL and Kane one. Now, Kane just edges it, as you can see. He just edges it on nearly probably all of them, as you can see. But Vardy isn't a bad one. He's slightly cheaper than Kane. And I think Vardy, if you have a look at his heat map too and how he's been doing so far this season, I don't see him as a bad one. I feel like he's a good one, probably going forward too. Have a little skip to Premier League. And you can see, I know he loves the centre circle a lot, but he does get in the box quite a lot, as you can see. A little scroll down. Key passes not as good as Kane's, with 0.8, but he's all about the shots, isn't he? The shots on target, shots towards goal, 2.1 on average, gets an average of 2 shots per game on average. Jamie Vardy does. He's got 11 goals and 5 assists so far this season. He's just a very, very good player, and I feel with him, he could really, really hurt Liverpool if when he starts. When he starts games, I know he's a troll player, but he's a really, really good player going forward. Another player I want to talk about is Ollie Watkins. Now, he's had a 50-50 season so far with the Villa. He's got Brighton next. Then he's got Leicester, Leeds, Wolves and Newcastle, and then Sheffield United. But as you can see, he's done well in the last few games for the Villa. And he's returned in the last 2 games for the Villa. Even in his last 5 games, he scored 4 goals in his last 5 games. He's a good one to go for. He looks like a man in form at this very moment of time. As you can see, he's much, much cheaper, and he's cheaper than DCL too. He's 6.4 million. Now, as I said, you look at the fixtures, lovely one going forward. Now, Villa are that attacking team. You've got a baller like Jackie Grealish, who's that workhorse in the team. If he's fit, Barkley's fit, El Ghazi, Trezeguet, Traore, that attacking unit they've got to help support Watkins is great. So, if you can't afford the likes of Kane or Vardy, go for Watkins. It's cheaper than DCL. He saves you some money in the bank too, and he's a good one going forward. If we also look at the stats too, with Vardy being green and Watkins being blue, you can see it's pretty tight, isn't it? But Vardy just edging it, but it's not like a landslide like Kane and DCL. Watkins isn't too far behind Jamie Vardy on attack, as you can see right there. If we have a little scroll down, scroll through, I'll have a look at Watkins' stats by scrolling down. You can see on his heat map, he's much, much more attacking than Vardy by the looks of it. He's much more in the box, should I say. And he just looks like that fox in the box, but he just needs to put his chances away a bit more. And we know what he's like. He's a lovely cheap gem. He just needs to keep that, being more consistent in games. As you can see, he's got 10 goals and 2 assists so far this season. Shots-wise, 2.4 on average, so over 2 shots per game. And on key passes, he's got 1.2. So better than Vardy's, a bit less than Harry Kane's. He's a lovely one to go for. You know, didn't he get a hat-trick of an assist about a few games back? Because that was lovely to see. He's a very, very good player. He really is a lovely player to go for, Ollie Watkins, because he's just a nice cheap gem. So if you can't afford Kane and Vardy, get yourself an Ollie Watkins. You know, and it saves you money too. So he's another one to look out for also. Now, a lot of people aren't really talking about Richarlison. Now, DCL is out, he's injured. What about Richarlison? Could we see him move to that number 9 role and replace DCL for while he's out injured? You know, Richarlison is a very, very good player. He's so technically gifted, and he's just a really good player to probably own in your team. He's quite expensive, 7.8 million. He's only owned by 4.8%. He's got about 2 goals and 5 assists so far this season, so it's a bit of a risky one, but we know Everton have got that double game week, this game week coming. And, you know, it's mostly been hard for Everton at the moment, scoring the goals, and we know he missed a few games. So it is a bold move. This is what I'd say, this is my bold transfer replacement alternative for DCL. Richarlison's one of them who can do well, just turn up like a Jamie Vardy and just thrive. So it'll be interesting to see how he does without DCL, because we've seen how DCL's done without Richarlison in games. So it'll be interesting to see how Richarlison does without DCL at this time round. So if you have a little comparison wise, maybe with Watkins and Richarlison, I would still imagine probably Watkins still to edge it, but I'm wrong. I'm kind of wrong, because as you can see in blue, Richarlison just pips past Ollie Watkins in attack, also in technical and in creativity too. Tied on defending, not that that matters, and tactical, Ollie Watkins still edges it there. But overall, Richarlison just beats Watkins on the diagram, as you can see there. If we have a look at Richarlison, what he's like on shots per game as well, this is on SofaScore. Do check them out. I'm not sponsored, but do check them out. They're really good. It's a free app, free website. Do check them out. We can check. Let's have a look how he did against Spurs. This is going to be an interesting one. Let's see how he did against Spurs. He got 2 goals against Spurs. This is last night in the FA Cup. And you can see the arrow going towards the right-hand side of the screen. That way. Hopefully I pointed the right way. And you can see key passes 0, but he got 2 goals in that game, 120 minutes. So it is a lot of minutes, but with DCL out, Richarlison I still think will start. I don't think he'll be like rested or bench, should I say. I think he'll still start. He had 2 shots on target, 2 shots blocked in that game, and I think he's a lovely one to go for. As you can see, he creeps into the box a lot. He's just that kind of fox in the box. When he gets the opportunity, he just gets straight into that box, and then he just slots in the ball. He's a really good player. So could we see him at a number 9 role against Fulham, against Man City? Who knows? I think he's a lovely one to go for. I think he's one of those bold ones to go for, and I think he's one of them under the radar too. So do check him out. Do check him out. Last one on the list is Edison Cavani. I'm a huge fan of this guy. He's got 6 goals and 2 assists to his name so far this season. And he's just one of those players. He's just done well in the last couple of games. In his last, 5 games? In his last 5 games, he's got 3 goals in his last 5 games. You know, playing 24 minutes against Sheffield United. He's not played a full 90 minutes on average. Probably 3 of those 5 games he has. He's just a lovely player, and he deserves to keep starting. Deserves to start more, should I say, for Manchester United. He's better than Martial, and he's one of them, you know, play for the likes of Napoli, play for PSG, play with the likes of Mbappe and Neymar. I mean, he's one of them players that I feel should be started more for Manchester United. Now, if he did, he'd be a lovely one to bring in. He's another bold one to bring in. And he's got West Brom next, who are conceding a lot of goals at home. And he's 7.9 million. Now, he's cheaper than Vardy and Kane. He's around about the same price as Richarlison. I think he's a lovely one to go for. I know probably a few people want to go for a double up with Bruno and Cavani. Hell, go for it. I think it's a lovely one to go for. I think if you look at the fixtures ahead, you got West Brom doing absolutely Newcastle, same. Chelsea and City will be the tough ones, because we know this Chelsea manager has really got things up and running again at Chelsea. So that'll be interesting to see how he does there. but Man City will be a tough one also too. But I think the next 2 fixtures will be lovely for Cavani if he starts both of them and gets the minutes, because he's going up against 2 teams that are conceding a lot of goals at the minute and looking like relegation threatened teams for this season. So if we do a bit comparison wise as well, who should we compare? Should we compare both of them again? As you can see, tactical, Cavani just edges it really, but attacking wise, probably Richarlison's getting more minutes, that's why. But Richarlison just edges it there. That's the FA Cup. If we have a look at the Premier League, that would be interesting to look at the Premier League. Probably still the same as well, so it's not really calculating that. So overall, it's talking about this diagram, not just separate cup competitions. If we just have a look quickly at how Cavani did in his last league game for Manchester United, this is against Everton in that 3-3 draw. What a game that was. As you can see, he picked up a goal in that game, played a full 90 minutes. He got 1 shot on target, 1 shot blocked. And, you know, it wasn't much in the box, as you can see on the diagram, on the heat map. But he's one of them that's really one of those deadly strikers to probably start looking at, because he's one of them, when he gets a good pass towards him, he can slot it in. He's got the experience in him.
I'ma go all in, party like Friday. I'ma take this day, turn it to my day. Oh, oh, she love me, sipping bubbly, champagne.